Hey folks, this is Dagmore. I'm going to do an explanatory supplement of the latest speedrun for Final Fantasy Adventure. Real quick, the recording for the speedrun was done off of BGB 1.5.1 in speedrun mode. The MD5 hash for the game ROM is there to see. The video and audio was recorded actually straight from BGB, and then I later brought it into OBS Studio for this recording and the recording of the speedrun itself. Alright, so with that, let's get started. Dagmore means darkness slayer in Elvish, so Dag would just be slayer. Good times. Sil from Silmaril from Silmarillion. Alright, so start out with the attack pattern that I saw Boa use. I don't know if he got it from anybody else, but he did it really well, and so I followed suit. The attack pattern against Jackal. Kind of interesting in this game, you gotta hold a button. Doesn't matter which button. You can do a directional button, or you can do A or B while the text is scrolling, and then as soon as the last word is printed, you gotta release and press it again in order for it to go to the next screen or next text box. Usually I do A, but sometimes I do like up or down or a directional button. Willie passed away again. Hardest part of the run is not getting caught by Amanda there. Alright. So yeah, in this run I'll be doing some tricks that are a little different than what's been done in previous speedruns for FFA. Happy to share these with you guys. I've been working on a mod project called Legend of the Mana Sword with Xenophile, and it's been going great, and had an opportunity to really dig into the assembly code and learn a lot of stuff about this game, so excited to share that with you now. This first part is pretty scripted. There's not a whole lot you can do to go a lot faster. So 2 minutes and 30 seconds was my benchmark for this, but I was typically getting 2:27 or so when I was doing runs. And I call it as soon as this text box disappears. That's where my split starts. Alright, so the name of the game here is Goblins. I'm trying to get... they produce 3 GP as opposed to 1 GP from the mushrooms. I am not going for Iron Helmet because Iron Helmet is not necessary for this particular run. That was a mistake. There are lots of little mechanic mistakes in this. My fingers are not as fast as they used to be. In terms of leveling, I get a power level at first, and then I go stamina. The power level at the beginning is important to be able to take out the enemies up through Kets fast enough. In particular, if you get 1 level of power and 1 level of stamina, you're guaranteed to kill the goblins in 1 hit. But sometimes you can get them in 1 hit even after the first level of power. I'm not trying to grab treasure chests through this. I do end up getting some accidentally and ended up using some of the items that I got, so that was fortunate. So the important thing is, so I didn't mention this, the reason I'm trying to get gold is for the battle axe. I need 150 gold for the battle axe coming up and 15 gold for a key as well. Those monsters are particularly painful, so they take 2 hits, and there's invincibility frames that you have to deal with on the enemies as well, so no use just swiping your sword as fast as possible. It's better to just take it a little slower and time your attacks. So it seems like there's not a whole lot going on here, but practicing learning the last word of every text box to get the timing right on releasing a button and repressing for fastest speed is important and difficult. Not super difficult, but it's hard to get it perfect. So up to this point my pace was pretty good from what I wanted to do. Ended up using a candy there because these, I think they're called chibis, chibi double, something like that, because they are especially painful. And at this point, yeah, I went ahead and asked because I don't want to insta-kill from these guys. This is part of the problem of not getting an iron helmet, is this part is particularly challenging. But I'm looking for a level up here just about any time. There it is. Which will regain all the hit points so that I don't have to ask as often as I otherwise would. So for this run you actually only need 1 Matic. For this route you only need 1 Matic. I ended up getting more, and if you have more you can be a little more liberal in their usage, but it's not necessary. So one of the things that I'm excited about with this route is the significantly less things you have to farm. It's less random chance. So here I'm going back and forth, and I'm specifically looking for the goblins that give the 3 gold. And just trying to get to 165. Sometimes I can get that by the time I get here, but you know, oftentimes you have to go back and forth just a couple times. It's less farming than you have to do for the iron helmet though. Getting the key here will save you time, so you don't have to farm skeletons. I make a lot of mistakes in inventories here, just bouncing around between the selection. So in other routes, like the one that Boe's done, or at least in his latest video, he actually doesn't attack the flowers here. He tries to hold his will bar all the way through Kets so that he can use a full will bar at the when fighting the lizardmen. But in my case, I decided that wasn't worth it. It can be worth it if you just get really lucky and don't have things in the way, but because I don't have an iron helmet, I can't just kind of take the damage. I'd rather just kill the things in the way to make sure I can make it through without having to save or anything like that. I actually cut this split, instead of at the cure, I cut it at leaving Kets. I try to make the splits be on the, you know, when this shutter effect happens, right there. Just a little easier to time. I'm going to keep doing stamina until I get to the later game farm stage. Here I actually go back because I didn't like how many lizardmen there was. Just didn't like the configuration there. So this isn't super fast. This definitely could have been faster. If I had had a full wheel bar, then the axe would have killed them all, or killed anything that the full charged axe was able to hit. Skip the man for now because he wasn't walking up. I do go ahead and save here because, as you can see by 1 HP, it is very precarious in this part of the game. One thing's nice is if you hit a monster as it's coming into you, then it won't actually hit you. That's what happened with that fish. But it doesn't always work the way you want it, right there. Got a Matic, which again will make it a little easier in the future. You'll notice I hit the cure as I entered the cave entrance, which was a teleportation tile. That makes it a little bit faster. It's a good trick to learn that I learned from other folks. I didn't create that. I've seen that a lot in the warpless runs. Alright, and so this is where we start to significantly diverge. So I actually do pick up Man here, Mystery Man. Spoiler alert, he is Julius in disguise. But I'm going to need him to help me get past, or to actually execute a certain glitch. So here I can just try to skip these guys as much as possible while watching my health. In fact, this probably was a little too aggressive here. I didn't mean to get that Matic. I just walked into it. I say too aggressive because I don't think my HP is high enough to withstand necessarily the fish hits. Alright, so here the trick is you actually want... I might attack this guy normally. Yeah. You actually want to use the Matic to attack at this screen. The reason is because the Matic doesn't increase your, or doesn't use your will bar, and so you can continue to gain will charge as you're going through those screens. Because the point is you want your will charge to be at max by the time you get to this warp screen coming up. So, kind of depends on the monster layout and everything, how that will work out, but here it worked out pretty well. Pause real quick. As you can see, I've got 3 extra Matics in here. That's way more than enough. In fact, you can do this run with only 1 Matic, but if you do, then you only have 1 swing of the Matic that you can make in that area before, because you need to retain 1 Matic swing in this route for after you get past this warp. So at this point, the reason I did 2 attacks with the Matic before is because I knew that I could get away with it, given that I had other Matics. So you can be a little more liberal with your Matic usage if you ended up picking up more. So it's nice, but not necessary. More inventory confusion. Yeah, so I could have done a little bit better, but here's the first warp. And so this takes me into the ice cave. I'm going to save here because it's likely that I will die. I die. When you come back, you actually have one frame where you can move without being affected by the ice. So that's what I do there. Keep going left. First use of the axe here to get past these logs. I saved here because I didn't know if that lizard was going to come down and bite me. Alright, so this part of the route is dance with the snowman. The goal is to get to the that mid-right tile, the mid-bottom right tile, for a warp going down. And it's kind of just a fun dance to try to make sure that the snowman doesn't get you. So sword warp up will make you come down actually through that wall. It is important to switch to the battle axe and save right there because those guys will insta-kill you. And then this is where you're supposed to do another split. I was a little late on that. Alright, so at this point, the goal is to kill crabs and get a nectar. Continue to level up stamina, and then have your cure to heal in between hits. So you can take 1 to 2 hits from a crab depending on your level at this point. But as long as you have cure in between, you'll be fine. I did get a nectar right there at the beginning, as you saw, and I should have just run for it at that point. But at this point, I'm actually trying to get another one. There's actually 2 things you can do here. So, 2 different routes. One route is to just go straight for the next warp, which is what I end up doing. The other thing you can do is you can farm 460 gold and then go into Wendell and buy an iron helm and an iron armor and do the iron helm glitch on both of those. So you end up having the iron armor and the iron helm being worth 11 armor each, as opposed to 2 armor each for the bronze variants. So that's a good way to do like a marathon safe route, because you can take more hits from Julius towards the end of the this run. So at this point, I'm like super frustrated because I haven't had a second nectar drop, and the second nectar drop actually makes things a little easier at the final battle with Julius. But I decided I'm just going to go for it. I just was a little frustrated by the fact that I didn't get another nectar, and I just decided, hey, if I'm gonna potentially beat world record, I just got to go instead of getting more armor. So, shoot, let me actually go back a little bit here and show you what happened. Alright, so what did I do? So there's other warps in this game besides the one in the swamp. What's important is actually you're not actually cutting anything off screen, even though it seems like that's the source of the warp bug. It's not. It's actually what's important is that 5 rows down on the first column of the map, so 5 rows being the 5 like grid positions, you see like 1 tree, blank, and then 1, 2, 3 trees. So that 3rd tree, the one right behind Sumo right now, or Dag in this case, that's the important tree. Or if you were in the marsh, that would be the important vine or whatever it is he's cutting. So what happens is actually the game tries to take the current screen and extend to the left, up, right, and down based on what the current tiles are on the map. It doesn't matter what the map is on the left or the right. It matters what the current room looks like. So what matters is that there is that tree right above Sumo, and his axe, the way it's pointed, he actually has a little bit of a backswing, and that will hit a well, I say off screen. It's not really, it's just a segment in memory at this point, and it's not a part of the map next to it. It's the game like just replicating that tile to the left. So he's hitting a tile to the left, which corrupts a memory location, which tells the game where exactly Dag is on the map, on the world map. And in particular, it sticks him up at the top of the world map. So there's actually like five or six places where you can do this throughout the game. And the marsh is just one of those. So the marsh is the only one you can use the sickle for. The rest of them use the axe. So this is the way that I'm getting into the snowfields. Alright, let's keep going. Alright, so in this run I am not getting any blizzard orb items. Reason being is there's another glitch that can be exploited to get past, or to warp past the screen, or effectively evade a teleportation tile. So I'm just going as fast as I can, and also trying to keep my will bar at max, because I want to use that will bar as soon as I get into this ice cave here. You can see I'm running a little behind because all that farming of the crabs. Equip the sword going in, and then this is another split. Alright, so this is the traditional sword warp to get into the Undersea Volcano. There's a lot of different ways to get into the Undersea Volcano. This way just happens to be the easiest. Died there, which is unfortunate. These cyclone type enemies, they're hard to predict, and they are painful. So as before, yeah, saving in that room and just kind of using that as a staging ground for your will to charge is a good idea. This run could have been a fair bit faster, probably enough to get sub 30 if I had been able to hit the first sword warp and didn't farm as much for the crabs. Alright, so we're in no man's land right now, going into Undersea Volcano. Alright, and so this is where the big glitch happens. I'm going to go ahead and pause here to talk about it. So what's important here is the follower, so just below Dag right now is a teleportation trigger tile that it's supposed to take him to another part of the Undersea Volcano. What happens though is if a follower, or really any creature, steps on this tile, then the game goes into a mode saying, hey, a script is about to execute. Let's forget doing a lot of our typical logic because a script is about to execute, so just hold off on stuff. And then you go into the script, and the first thing the script does is says, are you the main player? And if the answer is no, well then the script cancels. But for 2 frames there, the game decided, let's just hold off on a lot of the processing. And some of that processing is, Dag himself triggering that tile again. So what you try to do is catch those 2 frames, and this is, the Game Boy runs at like just under 60 frames per second, so this is a 30th of a second that you got to catch it at. The idea is to try to catch that timing so that you move down onto that trigger tile at the instant that the follower is causing the game to think that a script is about to execute. Alright. So, I'm actually going to go back a little bit. Nope, too far. Alright, I'm going to try to pause it right at the right time there to show you guys what happened. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. Alright. There we go. Perfect. Yep, so this is what you want to look for. One white piece of hair on the back of Mystery Man, or he's just above this this step in the stairs. So this is him just after he started moving up from the tile below Dag. And you can walk straight down. Alright, so at this point grab Excalibur. We're going to do a different type of farming route. I'll go ahead and call this my next split right there. So instead of... Hold on. Instead of going to fight elephants in here, I'm going to actually go back to the Undersea Volcano. And so the way I do this, you'll notice right here, I started to walk up from this tile, and typically when I land, I would teleport back into the Undersea Volcano. Instead, before I get there, I'm going to save my game. And the reason I do that is because when I reset the game, you watch, he is in the tile above. This is because the game, when you save, it will truncate the player position to the X and Y coordinate below, a floating point value that you might be at. So for instance, if you're between two grid positions walking through a room, if you save going left or up, it will, and then reload, it will have you in the position that you would have ended at. If you try to do that going right or down, though, it will reload in the position you started from, which is why we can't do this trick to get down into the Mana Shrine to begin with. Anyway, get back up here, and I'm actually going to go into where that teleportation tile wanted me to go, and then I'm going to start by killing some of these fire moths and diggers. Reason being, they don't have shields. They are taking about 3 hits to kill. They give almost as much XP as an elephant. I'm actually going to start doing power at this point. This particular build, I'm going 29 power, 26 stamina, which I believe is 10 power levels, and that would make it, I guess, 8 stamina levels at level 19. So leveled up on each one of those enemies down there. Then coming up, we actually start a farm on gargoyles. Gargoyles give exactly half the XP that an elephant does, so way better use of time than, say, farming owls. But they do have shields, and it is dangerous down here, as you saw with the flame. I generally try to keep my HP above a one-hit kill, and then use cure to get to cure up if I need to. I messed up and didn't do that before. So yeah, the name of the game here is just trying to get crystals from the gargoyles. And for how many nectar I have, it really only makes sense to get 1. If I had 2 nectar, then I would actually maybe go for 3. The reason being, I'll explain when we get there. So at this point, level 12, I'm going to go ahead and farm the guys in this room. It's pretty dangerous being that close to these guys because they do, the way the hitboxes work, if they just kind of move one step into your diagonal area, you will get hit. Forgot to equip the key. I also think these shadow creatures are especially painful. Okay, so then at this point you can. This is I think right now this is the best place to farm late game. Better than the elephants, better than anywhere else. You've got a lot of creatures that are in one tight spot, so as long as you don't die, which is usually okay because they move pretty slow, then this is good farm. No shields you have to worry about. I actually decided at this point I've got enough levels to make it worthwhile to leave with this. Let me pause it. Leave with this chest glitch. So just like the snowman glitch that you might have seen before, where you move a snowman down and then the follower moving up and down allows you to glitch through the snowman, you can do the same thing with the chest. And really it's the same thing as what I talked about before. The game just thinks, hey, something big's about to happen, let's put some logic on hold. And it just doesn't, because the follower doesn't really do much with the script. It just says exit. So once you get far enough, you can just go ahead and kill the chests and keep going. I'm going to go back here because I'm not quite at level 19, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm going after some elephants here to try to get to level 19. The reason I didn't stay in the Undersea Volcano, even though that's faster farm, as you can see, those shields are really annoying, is that doing the pause glitch to get out of the Undersea Volcano can be challenging at times. And given that there was a chest, I just decided to take the opportunity and use it. But if I was to do it again, I probably wouldn't have done that, honestly, because these elephants annoy me, especially without sleep. Alright, so 2 levels to go, and I found an Aegis, the first chest. Now, the funny thing, in all my practicing of this new route, I did not get an Aegis. And I didn't even bother trying to practice the 3rd form of Julius with an Aegis, because I just didn't think it would happen. I didn't think it would be worth it. But lo and behold, I ended up getting an Aegis. I do use the Aegis once, so I feel like I got value out of it. Later on, you'll see. Die, elephant. Oh, okay. I was wrong. It's level 18 that I'm trying to get to, not level 19. So that would have been 10 levels of power, 7 levels of stamina. I actually don't... funny enough, I actually don't recommend... I'm going to pause it right here. I don't recommend that build. If you look at kind of the statistics behind some of this stuff, going one more level to level 19 would have been the thing that would be better, in the sense that if you had 31 power and 27 stamina, 31 power would guarantee you kill a Julius 1 clone with a certain number of hits. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's like a guaranteed amount. And there's kind of fall-offs, and like going to 32 wouldn't be more beneficial than 31. So like 31 is a great cutoff point if you have a Nectar. 29 is okay, but 31 is better. Likewise, 26 on stamina gives you a 92% chance, I think, to take 1 nuke hit, or to be able to take 1 nuke hit and not die. whereas if you had 27 stamina, it's a 100% chance. So kind of recommend that 3127 above the 2926 that I did. I was in a hurry though, and so I just went with it. Here I am starting to get pretty nervous because I'm on the stairs before 27 minutes. So I don't do things in the best order, and I go into the menu one more time than I should. I use a nectar here, I get a crystal, and then I save. Real quick on that. So the way nectar works is as soon as you use it, a timer will start in the game. And it will increase your power by 15, but the game actually uses a different variable called total attack power, or at least what we call it, total attack power. It uses that variable instead to determine what you hit with. And every time you go into the menu or equip a weapon, that's when that variable is set. And the game creators forgot about this when they put this together. So in order for Nectar to actually do anything, you have to go into the menu afterwards. So I went in and I got crystal, for instance, and then I saved. And it turns out that as long as you save while that timer is still active, then that total attack power actually gets put into your save file, and when you reload, it will still be at the nectared value, which is great. It means you don't have to do as much menu shuffling if you die on J1, which is likely. So the other side of the coin is that once you do that and the timer expires, the timer's is somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds depending on your will charge. If you open a menu after that timer expires, then you lose the nectar power. Likewise, if you open a menu after you reload from a save, then you lose the nectar power. So after I just saved there, I'm committing to I will never open the menu again. It's still a little scary. Now if I had a second nectar, then I would have done things a little differently, and I'll talk about that kind of coming up. But as long as you aren't using the menu bar or the select or start menu after you've engaged a nectar, then you have nectar for as long as you want it, which is really useful for stuff like this. Alright, so first J1 fight, I typically, as you saw there, I usually go immediately in for a hit on a Julius clone at the top. Alright, so that was that 8% chance of failing a 1 nuke. So I got really unlucky there. Most important part of the run right here, while the will bar is charging up, go pray at the tree. It's worth it. Just go do it. Alright, so then always start at a topped off will bar. Let me pause as we go into this. Okay, yeah, so there is always a J1 clone right here when you start. The other two could be in different spots, but there's always one right here in the middle in front of you. So that's why I just always go for a hit. Sometimes he blocks it with a shield, oh well, but usually it's worth it for me to just go ahead and do it. Another technique you can do in here is you can actually hold off on your nectar until you get into the fight, and then you can use your nectar, equip a crystal, and then go to the tile just to the top right of this J1 clone right here in the middle, and then save there. And the reason you would do that is so that when you reload, you would actually be at that position just to the top and right of that middle J1 clone, and you can do a standard weapon swing and hit him in the back as soon as the game starts, which is a nice way to get a hit in. Alright. I don't do that here. I think it's still like a little bit better to go in with the full will bar and try to do the power attack. Alright, let me just pause here and talk strategy a little bit. So I talked earlier about wanting 2 nectars, and the reason is another way to make this route safer is after killing the first Julius, trying to get a level up on that kill. You saw kind of Bowie do that in a previous run. Makes a lot of sense, especially if you're going a route where you have the armor and you can take a couple hits. That way you take a couple hits, you level up, you get your HP back, and then you can take a couple more hits. And if you do that, then you want a second nectar, so that as soon as you land, you nectar, and then you go into your menu, which triggers the nectar, and you equip a crystal, use it, attack, equip another crystal, use it, attack, another crystal, use it, attack. Don't go too far. I wouldn't do more than 2 or 3, just so you don't lose your nectar by going into the menu. But that's a way to make the route more marathon safe. I think, though, for world record, it probably makes sense to just grab 1 nectar and just kind of do as this run is doing here. You can see the nectar really helps. So there's a chance that you will get a J1 clone in 2 power attacks, but usually it's just 3. Okay, and Aegis did block a nuke there, so I feel good about that. What determines if you get 2 or if it takes 2 or 3 hits is whether you get a backswing hit on any of the attacks. If you get a backswing hit on either of the 2 attacks going forward or backward, if you have 31 power, then you are guaranteed to kill the Julius in 2 hits. I was really nervous at this point, and I start to make some mistakes in here just because I was so nervous. Like that. Because these guys can teleport instantly right into your face and just body hit you. And I got really lucky there on the backswing. Alright, so J2 is pretty standard. You just got to remember you can't save. There's no menu operation at all in here. You just got to go with what you got. Which is nothing at this point. Just the A button. Missed a couple swings there. I was, again, nervous, hitting a little too fast, so not getting all of the hits in. Funny enough, man actually does hurt Julius in this form. So, Julius is helping me kill Julius. Sweet vengeance. One nice thing about the Nectar build is these fights do go a little bit faster. Now, I think it's true that if you get a hit on a boss after it starts to explode, then that hit will carry over to the next boss. I haven't followed the logic exactly for how that works, but I know that's true on Jackal at least. So here, notice I don't save and reload, so the second girl, the glitched girl, remains there. Not much I can do about that. Now, what I'm not doing well here is I'm not using the Aegis at all. I'm pretending like I didn't have it because I don't know. I didn't practice this run with Aegis. These positions are pretty safe to use without Aegis. most important part of this, to me, what I feel like is one of the hardest parts, is not getting killed by the explosion if Julius dies. And I actually feel like I cut it pretty close on the actual explosion here. So if you get all the hits in, you should be able to do this right here. You should be able to finish them off. But I didn't get every hit in. So here it comes. Yeah. So there we have it. And I felt like that was a little close. I don't know exactly where the stand points are that are safe and not safe, but that one, I feel like I've died there before. So my go-to is to walk away if I thought I got a killing blow in. All right, so that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching, and hope this is helpful, and hope that we see more runners and more world records soon. All right, Dykemore out. Thanks.